האם זה באמת סגולה בדוקה? הסגולה ללמוד בזה?
Erev Tov and good evening, everyone. We are in the Zera Shimshon on Megillas Eicha in preparation for Tisha B'Av, and we're going to take a look at Drush Yud, section number 10. The Zera Shimshon is going to start with two psukim from Eicha. They come from, as you can see in the text, they come from Perek Gimel, psukim Yud Zayin and Yud Ches, and the Zera Shimshon quotes these two psukim in their entirety. They're very short psukim, so he gives us the full text of the two psukim. So let us begin. Os Yud, section 10. Pasuk. The pasuk states, and again, it's actually two psukim. The first pasuk says, "Vatiznach mishalom nafshi," and my soul despaired from peace, meaning my soul despaired of ever experiencing peace. Noshisi tova. I forgot what goodness was. I forgot goodness. That's the first pasuk. Next pasuk. Va'omar, and I said, Avad nitzchi, my hope, my strength is gone. V'sochalti, and my hope me Hashem, from Hashem. So the first pasuk talks about, in that pasuk, the Navi, this is obviously Yirmiyahu, the author of Eicha. He says, and he's the Navi who lived through the Chorban of the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. So he prophesied before the destruction that was coming, and then he lived through it and experienced it. So he says, I despaired of experiencing peace, and I forgot what goodness was like, and I felt that my strength and my hope in Hashem were lost. Zera Shimshon says, Koshe, there's a problem. Eich efsher sheyovad hatikva mehakodesh baruch hu. How is it possible that the Navi says he lost his hope from Hashem? We can lose hope in all different kinds of things in this world. We can lose hope in experiencing certain things. We can lose hope in other people helping us, or other people doing things the way we think they should do them. There's all kinds of things that we could possibly become hopeless about. But the Zera Shimshon says, how is it possible for the Navi to say he lost hope in Hashem? And that's his question. Ella, but what does this mean? Lefi she'im ein shalom ein klum. This means that if a person doesn't have peace, then they have nothing. K'moshe Perush Rashi Reish Parshas Bechukosai, as Rashi explains in the beginning of Parshas Bechukosai. Uva Medrash, and we also find this idea in the Medrash, Amrinon, we say, Al Pasuk, on the Pasuk. This is a Pasuk from Melachim Beis, and we'll talk about what it's referring to in a moment. The pasuk says, "Ein l'shivchoscha chol babayis." There is nothing to your maid servant at all in the house. This is a somewhat well-known episode from Malachim, in which the Navi Elisha is approached by a woman, a widow, and she tells Elisha that her husband, who has died, was a student of his and a close follower of his, and he died, and she has been left destitute with two sons to take care of. And she says, I have nothing in the house. I have nothing. We're going to starve, and also we're going to be homeless, because the owner of the home is demanding that unless I pay him, he's going to kick us out, and I have nothing to pay him with. That's what the woman says, and she refers to Elisha. She refers to herself as your maid servant. So your maid servant has nothing in the house. In that story, Elisha says to her, finds out that she actually has one little container, and he says to her of oil, and he says to her to go around the neighborhood and collect all the containers, empty containers that she can. And then he says, close the door and start pouring from your little container of oil into all of the empty containers, and you'll be able to fill them all up. And that's what she does. So on that story in Melachim Beis, the Medrash comments, She'ein habracha shora, blessing cannot take effect, ella im kain yesh lo ezeh davar, unless a person has something. Avalim ein lo klum, if a person truly has nothing, eino nase lo shum nes, then even a miracle cannot be done to help that person. And that's why Elisha made sure to question the woman and determine that she had something. She said she had nothing, but it turned out that she said, I have nothing except this little container of oil. And then Elisha was able to help her in a miraculous way to fill up so many containers of oil that he said to her, now you can pay off your debts and you can stay in your house and you can use the rest of the oil to support your sons. Lochein, therefore, kishe'avad hashalom, therefore, if we think back to the two psukim that we opened, that the Zera Shimshon opened with, since in the first pasuk, Yirmiyahu said, I despaired from having peace. So since he lost the feeling of peacefulness, Omar HaMakonein, the lamenter, which is a reference to Yirmiyahu, he said, Nashisi Tova, I have forgotten all goodness. Since I don't have peace, I'm suffering so much that I feel no peace. I can't be at peace at all. Therefore, I have forgotten what it's like to have anything, to have any goodness in my life. Shimein sholom ein klum, because if there's no peace, then there's nothing. Va'al zeh, and on this situation in which the Navi was saying he felt like he had nothing and no peace, therefore the next pasuk says, Va'omar, and I said, Avad nitzki, my strength and my hope in Hashem has been lost. There's the answer to the question. Why did Yirmiyahu say even his hope in Hashem was lost? Because he didn't have anything based on the fact that he didn't have peace. And if he didn't have peace, then it was as if he had absolutely nothing. And as the Zera Shimshon has just explained to us, if he had nothing, then he felt like even Hashem can't do anything for me. Miracles won't even work for me, because a person has to have something, even the smallest thing, in order to receive divine assistance and miraculous help. Omnam, however, lo hashalom, when a person does have peace, oz yiyobo kol habrachos, then a person will have all of the blessings. Without peace, there are no blessings, no matter what a person might ostensibly have. But when a person has peace, then their life can be full of blessings. Because they have that base of peace. Moving to the next paragraph. Od b'derech acher. Alternatively, there is a whole other way of explaining these two psukim from Eicha. De'isa b'shulchan aruch Orach Chaim. It states in the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, in the section of Orach Chaim, Shemi she'ein lo shemen, if a person does not have oil, lahadlik ner shel Shabbos, to light Shabbos, the Shabbos lights. In our case, we might say candles. So if a person doesn't have oil, or a person doesn't have candles, they don't have what they need to light the Shabbos lights on Friday afternoon. They just don't have it. They're too poor, or they're in some kind of strange situation where they don't have access to oil or candles or anything to light their Shabbos lights with. Yishal al hapsachim, then the person should go and beg people, go door to door, to ask people and to beg, kedei lehadlika, in order to light Shabbos candles. Now we're going to pause for a moment just to point out that is a very striking and remarkable law in the Shulchan Aruch, or statement in the Shulchan Aruch, because in general, as we'll see, a person is very limited in terms of what they should collect charity for. It is not considered appropriate to just go and collect charity for things unless they're absolutely necessary. So, for example, if a person doesn't have food to eat, then they obviously are allowed to and obliged to go and collect a charity to get food to eat, to be sustained with food. and how that works and how the system used to work, that the Gemara talks about how charity was set up for people who didn't have food, is very important, because once a person reached a certain point of having enough food or having enough money to buy food, even though it was not much at all, then they were prohibited from taking from the charitable funds that were set up, because it wasn't a necessity for them at that time. So here we're saying, let's put aside food, even to light the Shabbos candles. Shulchan Aruch is ruling that a person should go around and collect the few coins that he or she needs to be able to light the Shabbos candles. The Chos of Magen Avraham, and the famous commentary of the Magen Avraham on the Shulchan Aruch, writes, the Ein Zeh, this action, this situation is not included bichlal in the rule of Aseh Shabbat Chachol, and the quote continues, Ve'al titztarech labrios. This is a quote, as you can see, from the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, which says that in certain situations, you should treat Shabbos like a weekday and don't go around collecting from other people. So that's a rule in the Gemara that applies to other situations besides not having Shabbos candles or oil to light Shabbos candles, where we would say, no, don't collect from other people. It's better to even have a Shabbos that's going to look like a regular day, meaning you're not going to have all the delicacies and the special, you might say, you won't have the herring and the kichel, you won't have the babka, you might not have the chulent. Make your Shabbos like a regular day instead of going around and collecting from other people. So the Magen Avraham says, yes, that's a rule, but that only applies to things that are considered not essential, whereas lighting Shabbos candles is considered essential, and therefore you should go around and collect charitable gifts in order to be able to light Shabbos candles. Ad kan Lashono, until here is a quote from the Shulchan Aruch and the Magen Avraham. Uba Perek V'Mem Madlikin, and in the second Perek, the second chapter of Maseches Shabbos, Garcinon, the text says, Vatiznach misholom nafshi. The Gemara over there quotes our pasuk from Eicha about where Yirmiyahu said, "My soul despaired from having peace." V'chulei, etc. Ze ner shel Shabbos Kodesh, and the Gemara said that pasuk where he was lamenting that he had no peace is a reference and applies to any person who doesn't have what he needs to light Shabbos candles. If a person doesn't light Shabbos candles and isn't able to do so, then that person is considered bereft of peace, lacking shalom, lacking peace over Shabbos. V'zehu kesher hapsukim, and now we understand, according to this second approach, how the two psukim connect. Vatiznach misholom nafshi. The first pasuk says, "I despaired." My soul despaired from having peace, v'chulei, etc. She'ein ma'os likno shemen l'ner Shabbos. According to the Gemara and Masechta Shabbos, that refers to a person who doesn't have the necessary coins, the necessary money to buy oil to light Shabbos candles. Oz ani mitztarech lachazir ala psachim. And then, according to the halacha, that person would have to go and go around door to door to collect enough money to buy Shabbos candles or oil to light Shabbos lights. V'lo uchal lomar evtach b'Hashem. And the person is not allowed to say, I trust in Hashem, ve'eseh shabbati chol, and I will make my Shabbat chol. I'm willing to my Shabbos to be like a weekday. I don't feel it's right to go collect from other people, and I'm willing to go into Shabbos without Shabbos candles. And I understand that'll make it seem like it's not Shabbos and it's a weekday, but sometimes you have to do that if you don't have the money, and it's not. The person says, I don't want to collect from other people to get money for Shabbos candles, so he's not allowed to say that. Dahash to miha ein li shemen, because that person right now at the moment doesn't have oil, and the halacha is telling them they have to get oil. V'lochein, and therefore va'omar chas v'sholom avad nitzchi v'chulei. This person can say, I lost my strength and my trust in Hashem, meaning if I want to trust in Hashem and assume that he'll take care of me and not collect money from other people's, but the halacha is telling me, no, in this situation, don't trust in Hashem, go collect from other people to ensure that you have Shabbos candles. So this second answer is kind of based on the incredible importance that the Gemara and the halacha gives to ensuring and making sure that we light Shabbos candles and have doing whatever it takes to have Shabbos candles lit in our home when Shabbos comes in. And of course, this is a very different approach than the first approach that the Zera Shimshon presented about understanding the two psukim, which was based on the lack of peace that Yirmiyahu felt led him to feel, if I don't have peace, I have nothing. And if I have nothing, I can't really even trust in Hashem, because Hashem can't even help me with a miracle unless I have something to build upon, as we saw in the story from the Navi Elisha and Sefer Malachim, when he helped the widow of his former student. And so a lot to think about there in terms of Shabbos candles, and also a lot to think about the importance of Shalom Bayis and peace. As the Zera Shimshon says, when we have peace, then our mind should be open to all of the blessings. It's as if we have all of the blessings that Hashem can bestow upon us, and we should be ready to receive them if we have peace in our homes and peace in our lives. If, God forbid, a person doesn't have peace in his or her home, doesn't have peace in his or her life, then God forbid, it could be like Yirmiyahu's situation, where he said, even Hashem, so to speak, Kaviyachol, can't help me in this situation. So it shows the incredible importance of having shalom and building shalom and spreading peace, and making sure we have peace in our lives and in our homes. And so it should be God's will for us and for all of Klal Yisrael. Yasher koach to joining in the learning of Zera Shimshon this week and Megillas Eicha, and we look forward to learning again next week together in the Zera Shimshon.